So the outside reading book that I did with my group was Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf by Edward Albee. So the main characters of the book are Martha, George, her husband, Nick, and Honey, his wife. So Martha is a loud and very sort of verbally aggressive person. She it's hinted that she's an alcoholic, a bit of an alcoholic, and she is very rough with her husband George, often calling him, things like, telling him basically that he fails at being a manly man, and that saying things like she would divorce him if she knew how he was, going to turn out and stuff. And then George, at the beginning, he seems to be sort of a victim of Martha's aggression and sort of violence towards him. But you find out later on in the play that he is also attacks her in the same way, but more. But instead of being verbally aggressive like she is, he's more satirical and planned out with his attacks at her. For instance, when Martha was kissing Nick, George decided to ignore it instead of get into it, and I think that says a lot about George's knowledge of Martha and knowledge of what would hurt Martha the most. And what would hurt Martha the most is just ignoring her. So, and then Nick is a very well accomplished young man. He is a science professor, a new science professor, and he is very smart. He's very serious about things, and he knows all the facts about everything. And we found out in the play that he really wants a kid because that's pretty much the reason he married Honey, because he thought she was pregnant. Now, Honey, she wasn't actually pregnant. She thought she was pregnant, but she wasn't. It was a false pregnancy. So Honey is a sort of childish character. She, as far as we can tell, she's very drunk. So she does things like, just laying on the floor and saying things that you wouldn't really normally say, and sort of a ditzy kind of character. So Edward Albee said that the meaning of the name of the play, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, is a play on like Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf, like from the Three Little Pigs story. And it's basically about, he said that it's basically about, who's afraid of living without the illusions of, of perfection and things. So, and what he meant by that was, in the play, George and Martha have a fake son that they use to make their lives seem better to other people. So Martha mentioned the son to Nick, and so George had to end up killing the son, which he didn't really kill him. He just told Nick and Honey that it was a fake person. And this leads to Martha at the end of the play saying that she is afraid of Virginia Woolf, meaning she is afraid of the loss of illusion, the loss of a fairy tale, the loss of this perfection, this illusion of perfection that she had for her life, because they were never able to have children. So I think for Martha and George, this fake son sort of completed their marriage in a way that their relationship to each other couldn't really do. And then a lot of people in my group said that it would have been, a better play if someone had been shot, or if someone had killed themselves. So I disagree, though, with the fact that if someone had been shot or had committed suicide even, that it would have added something to the play. I think it would have detracted away from the main plot of the play, which is that George and Martha, their marriage is not a good marriage, and had one of them died, or had Nick or Honey died, I think it would have added some finality to it. But because death is final, you don't come back from death. Death is the last thing that anyone ever does. So, but I think that because George and Martha can't really figure out their relationship, they can't really get out of it. They can't really get over any hurdles, because there's just so many hurdles to get over. They don't have any finality in their relationship. Their relationship has no foreseeable ending, or re-beginning or something. So there is no death in the play, and I think that was very smart of Albie to not kill anyone. Nick mentions in the play that Honey is small-hipped, and meaning by this that he obviously is a guy who really wants kids, and he doesn't think she can have them. And she had a false pregnancy before, like I said, and that was basically the reason that he married her, because George and Martha are much older than Nick and Honey, and have been married for a much longer time. I think that they are sort of a foreshadowing of what Nick and Honey's relationship may become. So I think that Nick and Honey going to their house to have a little party is just sort of like a warning for them. Hey, don't do these things that you're doing, or you'll end up like these people who are miserable. And I guess that's it.